Alright, so I just went to the mountain and I picked up some minerals that I found there. This one being a type of iron hematite. You can kind of see, I mean, it's pretty obvious that that is a iron guinea pig, I know. But, you know, also it's incredibly magnetic, so that's another way. And after shaving this off and heating it with a big torch, I have gotten myself some hematite, which is that red powder, which is actually strong enough to, well, hold on a second. I can get it. If you spread it to the right area, you can pick it up. But, you know, you can see that it is magnetic. It is a magnetic powder. So, and that stuff's pretty cool. I made a dye with that, mixing it with water. So, there's that. Actually, it looks like it's collapsing now that it's dried. Yeah, it is collapsing. Yeah. Well, anyways, one of the oldest dyes, an iron oxide dye. And then I also have this pyrite that I got as well. You can see that, and I'm going to be trying to turn this into sulfuric acid, because I have some pyrite at the mountain near me, and I thought might as well try and do something. I don't know what's on the edge, maybe galena on the end right there, but then this is pyrite, so I'm first going to shave it up. And how I'm going to do it is I'm just going to put it on this sandpaper right here, and I'm just going to go back and forth until I get a powder. Okay, so I took the dust that I got from the pyrite, and I could not get it off of this, so I had to rub it with a paper towel in order to get it off because the particles were just too fine. They got stuck in there, and then the paper towel contained all the pyrite, and so I just put it in here, the dark paper towel, mixed in some water and hydrogen peroxide, and it smells very rotten eggy from the oxygen attacking the iron sulfide. So I do need to get a little acid test, and I'm going to test the acidity of it. Probably should have done that before I added the peroxide, because then the peroxide I know has phosphoric acid for stabilization, but I might have to redo the test. Alright, so I don't know if everybody knows, but I don't have my lab, obviously, so I'm not able to do everything the way that I would want to do it, but I was trying to figure out if I had any sulfuric acid present, and to test that out, I thought, well, I should probably take a salt that is soluble in water and then add sulfuric acid, and then when the sulfur bonded, it then would become insoluble and fall out, and then I'd confirm that. So I thought sulfite is insoluble in water, so I wanted to make calcium hydroxide, and then add a little bit of my solution and see if a white precipitate formed. But I don't have that, so I just used eggshells and saw if any bubbling happened. I wasn't seeing anything, so I'm just going to let that sit. But the smell of sulfur is pretty intense. So right now I have just my rock in here, and I'm just going to be hitting it. And try and break up some of the pyrite, because it's actually really brittle. And I'm going to take advantage of that so that I can get, you know... Ooh, it's coming out the bottom. Alright, well I want to get all the pieces from this, so I'll be back once I got it. Alright, so what I'm left with is some paper full of pyrite dust, and then the crushed pyrite in a cup. And I'm going to use both of these things. Okay, so I have my powder, and I have my blowtorch, and I have some water that I pulled off from the already, you know, kind of crummy, sulfury smelling stuff. Yeah, it smells like rotten eggs, but like very slightly. It's pretty faint, but it's definitely there, you know. I'm trying to think, should I get fresh water or just use... I'll probably just keep this one. Alright, let's go burn it. If any of you are wondering why I kind of stopped making chemistry videos and I don't make stuff at the house anymore, I'm currently living with my girlfriend right now, and we're about to get an apartment, but if I go inside down the stairs, there's a parrot. If I go upstairs, there's a guinea pig that screams, and then outside there's dogs. There's at least 8 chihuahuas, and there's just really no good place to... There's also like 8 people that live in the house, so... anyways, so here I have this, and I have some of, like, maybe like 20% of my pyrite, and I'm going to burn it. But something to note if you're going to do this at home is this will produce sulfur dioxide gas, which mixes with your mucous membranes and can, you know, create sulfuric acid, burn you. It's poisonous in itself, exactly the same amount as hydrogen cyanide, so you should really treat this just as you would if you were heating cyanide. I mean, it's really that dangerous, even though it's a rock. So now without further ado, I'm going to heat this, but I also want to figure out how I'm going to, you know, I think I'm just going to... The torch doesn't turn off on its own very easily, so once I start the torch, it'll like continue and stay on for a little bit. I'm gonna need to set it down immediately. I guess I can just put it off to the side and then dump this into the water. So that's what I think I'm gonna do. Currently the wind, I think, is going that way, so I should do this facing this way. Okay, alright. Here we go. Also wear eye protection and safety stuff on your... these explode, by the way, as well. The bigger pieces do, so be careful. was a little worried about that. Some of it turned red hot. Not smelling too much sulfur. I didn't get any hits of sulfur at all, but I'm kind of glad that I ran before I got to that point. And then that's what somebody did in a video. They caught it on fire and then they just dropped it in like that, and it turned the pH clear from the indicator that does the alkaline. It turns purple, and then acidic it turns clear. So I'll see if we have anything. I'm going to recover all this that's at the bottom as well. There's quite a bit on the inside that, you know, I'm going to recover that and maybe reburn it, but for right now I might do another test. Let's do another one. Okay. Oh, yeah, I smelled that sulfur. I got a very, very light hint of it, like a little bit. Alright, let's go see if it's acidic or not. I have some baking soda now in this water. You can tell I don't have any of my equipment anymore. That's all up in Alaska with my parents. Alright. So now we have the baking soda mixed. First, I'm going to test off this mixture. This is just pyrite that's not been heated and mixed with some water and a little bit of hydrogen peroxide. I see no bubbling. Alright, now let's try our burned solution. Probably not going to bubble either, but let's try it anyways. Yeah, I'm still seeing no bubbling, but very pungent sulfur smell coming from the burned pyrite. So, not strong enough to, I don't think it's necessarily strong enough to be able to bubble that. Let's do another test actually, fuck it. I just put a tiny piece of baking soda right there, and then I'm just going to directly, actually, alright, I have a Q-tip in there, and then I'm just going to, yeah, I'm seeing no fizzing. None. Alright, well, there's that. Now, I do know that if I burn this and distill it into water, the sulfur dioxide will mix with the water, add a little bit of hydrogen peroxide, you'll have some really good sulfuric acid. I do know how to make it. I'm just trying different methods, and one of them said that you could make it just by mixing it with water and heating it up. So I thought that was pretty cool. That doesn't mean that this isn't acidic, though. I just haven't, you know, I've made some pretty acidic stuff that wasn't able to, for some reason, turn, you know, bubble baking soda, but I got to figure out how to prove this. I don't have my indicator strips. Alright guys, so I have no cabbage, no purple cabbage, no pH strips, no pH meter, no litmus solution, no universal indicator. I don't have anything. So I'm gonna have to do some really weird stuff because I don't have a car right now either. My girlfriend's at work. So I'm gonna have to make my own. Oh, this is just gonna be so weird. Alright, so I'm gonna pour some baking soda inside of this aluminum foil, hit it with a blowtorch. I'll be back once I'm done. Alright, so we've converted the baking soda, hopefully, into sodium carbonate. Yeah, it looks way more sand-like. That looks like sodium carbonate to me. Okay. Now, sodium carbonate, when it dissolves, kind of acts like lye, you know, or sodium hydroxide, you know. So it should be super alkaline, which means that when I mix it, I'll get to the next part. I mix turmeric, which is what I have. Even though it says saffron, this is not saffron. Okay, so I mix that turmeric in there. Okay, so turmeric doesn't have a spectrum like cabbage, but it turns red when it comes into contact with the basic solution of something. Let's see if this is going to work. Oh, thank God it worked. Okay, it worked. Alright, so now I have a very red mixture. If I can lower the pH back to a point, I think about 9, which would be plenty enough to prove that it's acidic, it should turn yellow again. However, I don't actually know if that's the case or not. So I'm going to put half of this in here and add vinegar and see if it even changes color. I don't know if it can revert back once it's in this state. Do we have vinegar? I mean, that is... okay. Yeah, we have rice vinegar, I think. Hold on, let me look for vinegar. Alright, can't find vinegar. Lime. That works, whatever. Alright, let's see. Yes. It does, it works. It turns it back into a yellow solution. Alright. Okay, I had to use citric acid instead of acetic acid. Okay, now that I know that that works, can I get this to turn back into yellow with my homemade sulfuric acid? Let's find out. It appears that nothing has happened. I'm just going to add the whole lot at that rate. Yep. Nothing has happened, which means that the pH is really weak. It's probably like a 4 or like equivalent to like tomato juice, you know? So, yep, not a strong acid at all, if even it is indeed an acid. So, I'm going to work on trying to get the sulfur out of here. I will make sulfuric acid from pyrite. I just got to figure it out. And I got to have more pyrite too. So,